Yup, I'm healing. Kinda. Trying. Sorta. Back in therapy, baby. Reporting for the order. It's Michelle in the middle, where the chaos is real. We laugh, we cry, we try. It's time to talk about how we feel. It's Michelle in the middle, where the chaos is real. We laugh, we cry, we try. It's time to talk about how we feel.
All right, so rambling session 3. I had an interesting session today. Kind of screwed up my homework. I was intellectualizing it way too much, and I guess I'll go into that a little bit later. But what was interesting, for those of you who don't know or haven't listened to the very first rambling session, I'm currently in a PhD program for psychology, and oddly enough, my reading assignments have been around dissociative amnesia, which is currently what I'm experiencing. So I was literally working on assignments this past week that were further educating me on what was happening, what was going on, and what has to happen, which is reintegration of my trauma memories or my implicit memories. Yeah. So there's that. And I was talking to my therapist about it today, and yeah, obviously that's the plan, right? But again, having to be open to all the events that I have to reintegrate and feel the feelings, and this is where I get stuck. I've kind of known I have been a runner. I'm a Pisces, for Pete's sake. Escapism is our thing. But all jokes aside, most of my life, majority of my life, if something didn't feel good and it was in my ability to bounce, that's what I would do. I'm very good at detaching, and a lot of it was because I was never fully attached, right? Never fully attached to anything other than my children. Fully attached to my children, fully attached to my brother, stuff like that. But relationships and stuff, if there was any signs of this could be a potential problem, I'm out. That's why I never really did labels. I was cool without having labels and things of that nature because my foot was always one foot out the door. And I thought that was a flex. I thought that was like, I'm queen of Miss Nonchalant over here. But in my session today, I found out it's because of fear. Good old fear. And that ties into my anxiety, my PTSD. All of it ties into fear and the desire for safety. But here's the kicker, right? I don't know what safety means for me. And that was kind of how our session ended. The acknowledgement of I find people pretty much not to be safe. They're not safe. And it's based on my trauma story, going back to when I was 7 years old. People have not been safe for me. People have abused my body. People have abused me. And it's been an ongoing situation in different phases of my life to where I've learned that people aren't safe. So there was always an escape route planned, right? When you go into a building, you need to know where their escape route is. When you have fire alarms, you need to get to your nearest exit. When you're on the plane, where's your nearest exit, knowing where that is. And that's pretty much how I live my life. And while parts of me is like, man, that's not really a bad thing. I don't think so. But I'm not allowing myself to fully be present. And that's where it's a challenge. So my homework was, the homework I screwed up. I was supposed to go down the list of emotions and explain how I would react to that emotion. And because all the good emotions like happy, excited, joy, all that stuff. I know how I react to that because I react to that regularly. Now, the emotions that are challenging, like grief, sorrow, anger, all that stuff, I had challenges with because those are the emotions I disconnect. I don't want to feel it, disconnect. I don't want to deal with it, detach, move on, move forward, right? And because I do not allow myself to process those emotions, they just get buried down, right? Further and further into the mud, and they sit. And then it feeds into the narrative that I have made for myself in my life about people not being safe. So the first step is being able to actually process my emotion, right? What does that look like? What do those feelings, what are they? And getting on the other side of those feelings. And hopefully when that happens, dissociative amnesia will start to go away, and I can start remembering memories of my mom, of my best friend, of other family members who have passed, and I can stop running. And I've made jokes about it, and people have made jokes about it, my detachment in running, being a robot, being stoic. But apparently, that's not the way to be. So, of course, establishing boundaries and keeping them so you do keep the dangerous people away. Because even though everybody's not safe, everybody's not dangerous. That's a true statement. But everybody's not safe. But the only way to understand that is keeping your boundaries up, making sure you watch and monitor, but not automatically just say, I'm going into this with a plan to get out. And that's always been kind of my narrative. I'm going into this with a plan to get out. But one question was, after we determined, sure, I'm looking for safety. All my decisions, my detachment, the anxiety, not dealing with grief, it's trying to put myself in a position where I am not scared, I'm not fearful, and I'm safe. Okay. So, yeah, I can agree with that. Like, who doesn't want safety? But the problem came up when she asked me, what does safety look like to you? What is safety? And it was one of those moments again where I knew there's a lot of work that has to be done. There's a lot of work because I really, for me, like I know what's safe for my kids. I know what's safe for, at least in my mind, right? When you think of the word safety, okay, no harm. But then when I think about it for myself, what does safety look like for myself, for me? How do I know I'm in a safe relationship? That's when I bump into some challenges because I don't think I've ever looked at relationships in, I really feel safe here. It's always been looked at as, where's the exit? Because sooner or later, I know this person's going to start tripping. And again, looking at this is intimate partner relationships and how this is showing up. What is safety? And I guess I would ask that to anyone listening, if anybody listens to this. Like, what is safety for you? What does that look like? I don't know. I've never felt safe. And it's not just a physical safety, right? It's a psychological safety, emotional, spiritual, all the things that makes up a relationship. I don't think I've ever been in a relationship where I've felt safety. So what is that? Right? My traumas started at the age of 7. Or even, and it's like, okay, what would safety look like for you? So if you're listening to this and you have a trauma story and you're working through your trauma right now, what is that? What is safety? And another thing that was so interesting, again, with the body and the mind connection, I was telling my therapist, how I reacted and how I responded when my mom passed. And there wasn't a huge external blowout. Of course, I cried. But one thing that occurred in the crying is I couldn't see. Like, I get migraines anyway. So if you get migraines that have an aura, that can mess up your sight. But the night my mom died, like, I literally could not see. And apparently that's a thing. It's part of shock. And how it was explained to me today was your mind was shutting down, like you did not want to see or experience what was happening. So you couldn't see. So even though my eyes were open, I couldn't see. And for me, I was like, wow, the mind is powerful. So just as powerful as it is with these maladaptive expressions of stress, of anxiety, of fear, it's that powerful in the healing. And that's kind of what I'm holding on to, right? I have a long way to go. Absolutely. I don't know how long these rambling sessions or how many sessions I'll make, or if anybody's listening, or if this is even helping anybody. But if you are going through grief, when I make the statements of, I died, a part of me died when my mom died, and I've lost a piece of me ever since when somebody important or close to me goes, that's a true statement, because you are a different person. You're a different person from when you were, when that person was here, to where you're at now. And trying to go through life ignoring that fact keeps you stuck. And that's where I'm at, right? But now I'm acknowledging it. Now I'm working to integrate the things that I have pushed so far away, so I can get my mom back. I can get the memories back. I can get the laughter back. But I'll be able to identify what safety is for me. And then when I do step into a relationship, I'm not automatically looking for the exit. Not automatically looking for somebody to do something wrong so I can run. Looking for somebody to give me the excuse to go because I don't feel safe. I don't want to sabotage something by being so nonchalant and inaccessible and not present, because I'm automatically painting this narrative of this person is not a good person. So I guess this is where I'm going to land the plane tonight. I think I'm getting somewhere, right? The past few sessions have been eye-opening, and I'm aware that I have work to do. And the nonchalant behavior, the stoic behavior, if that's what you want to do, if this is how we're going to act, then fine, I'm out. It's not healthy. And to find myself in a safe space, I need to be able to provide that safe space for somebody else. So, it's a lot of work. Being human's hard. Being human's hard. But I'm getting there. So if you got this far, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening to me ramble. And maybe something that my therapist said for me today might help you down the road. So what is your safety? What does that look like for you? All right. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.